Oh, Alok, I'm so sorry. I completely forgot we have an interview. Where are my manners? Please take a seat. Let's get started right away. So tell me a bit about yourself, Alok. Ostensibly, it looks like you bike. That's right, Mr. D. I do bike. In fact, I'd say that with regards to my leadership experience for this position, everything I've learned about biking has helped for my leadership. What do you mean by that, Alok? Please elaborate. Explain what your leadership has to do with biking. Well, sure I can, Mr. D. But it might be a bit of a story. Two stories, in fact, today. My first story, with regards to leadership in my past, was actually one where I was a leader in my grade 9 band. At the time, I had just got started in band because it was mandatory for all of us, and I didn't want to be there. I started off in the grade 9 marching band, and I felt that I should be there for maybe about a year, and that'd be it. But after a year, I realized, this is pretty fun. I made a lot of friends. The music's pretty easy. And hey, when else am I gonna have a chance to play the bagpipes in a marching band, right? So I decided to continue in the marching band. After a couple of years actually, I became the section leader of that band in the woodwind section. Unfortunately, a lot of my friends didn't stick around. And being the section leader, I wanted to know what was the issue. During one practice, where only about half of the students showed up, I decided it was up to me as a leader to find out what was going on. It was up to me, no one else. I decided to ask one of the students here, let's call him Ethan. I asked Ethan, why do you think nobody's coming to practices? I expected him to say, meh, I don't know, or why are you asking me, bro? Yeah. What he told me though was so reasonable. What he said was this: I like band, but honestly, it's not worth it. I play accompaniment in my band because I'm a beginner, but nobody hears the accompaniment above the melody, do they? What's the point of all the work I'm putting in? What's the point of all the practice if nobody cares? What am I doing this for? Nobody in this band cares for that reason. I realized, as leader, this is part of my responsibility. So I decided to talk to the conductor of that band to see what we could do. I decided, in that case, we should probably switch up the pieces we're playing so that they better reflected the capabilities of the beginners, challenge them, allow them to show what skills they actually have, rather than keeping them in the background. Now, after doing that, I didn't expect there to be much of a change. But lo and behold, just a couple of weeks later, 10 more people started to show up to the band. And a couple of months later, I found that half the students actually stayed in the band. What? Alok, that's really incredible. But, and I see that you're probably a coaching leader, I would say. But what does this have to do with biking? I was just about to get to that, Mr. G. What this has to do with biking is the fact that when you're on a bike, the journey for me is more important than the destination. The destination for us as a competitive band was to be in the top 3. But that race wasn't for me. It was more about the journey of inspiring others. It was about making sure that they want to be part of the band and they wanted to be becoming leaders just as I was becoming a leader. So that was the coaching part I aspired to achieve. That was my first story, Mr. D. I hope you liked it. Yes, Alok. But that's rosy and all. But tell me about a conflict you've ever had, Alok, as a leader. Did you read my mind? Are we the same person? I don't know. Now, I do have one story. My first year of engineering, I was in a class on engineering communication. It was this class where basically it is about trying to teach nerds how to talk, because we can do that. Now, in that class, I expect it to be pretty straightforward. It was me and 3 other students, and I expected it to be straightforward because we were all in the same class, we'd known each other for a long time. However, there was another student who happened to join in the middle of the class, and he was not very good. He was speaking English as a second language, and that was an issue for an engineering communications class. But that was not the worst of it, oh no. The worst part was that he didn't do his work, he didn't show up to all the meetings, and he was just a terrible teammate. By the end, I was just tearing my hair out, deciding what to do. And I think we were all like that. We were about to kick him out by the end, but we decided that maybe we should choose to have a compromise instead. I asked him whether he could be doing the written part of the work and we could be working on the oral part of the work together. So this would be a good compromise because he could use our skills and use us to improve his own communication. Somehow it worked out. Somehow. But that was not the surprising part. The surprising part was when he emailed us just a couple of months later, and he told us that he'd been in a personal struggle at the time. He'd been going under a tragedy, and that's why he couldn't really continue in that class as well as he would have liked to. That's when I realized that I should have been more of a leader, recognizing that. I should have been if you call that team a bike, where all the parts of the members and have to fit together, I was the mechanic who was supposed to grease them up, make sure they rub the right way. And I'd almost failed at that. Somehow I made it through. That was my other story I've realized about my life as a leader and my life as a mechanic. Alok, that was a great story. Thank you. Honestly, I think you might be the one for this. I think you might be. So I got the role? I got the role? Did I get the role? Got the role? No. I think you might be my bike mechanic. That's about it.